Hey everyone, how's it going? Octopus here and welcome back to evercrisis. We're going to be talking about Glenn's new banner that finally puts him up in the charts of tanking. He's got his ultimate weapon that just came out, and now this new Pirate's Glaive just makes him so good, including his costume. Now this is a feature banner, it's not limited, meaning that the only thing you have to really grab from here is the costume, because that's going to be going away. But because it's a feature banner, this might be here during one of those anniversary tickets, the 2-year anniversary. You can exchange for Glenn's costume, but that's a long time for now. So if you don't want to wait that long, or the possibility of it not showing up at all, this banner is specifically going for that costume, because later on you can wishlist this weapon. You can get into free polls, ticket draws once they update it. It's not going to be updated right away for the tickets, but it is going to be there. So it is something you're going to be able to OB10. So don't go too crazy, especially because the stamp card is definitely not as good as the Academy stuff. The Academy stuff looks absolutely fantastic when it comes to their stamp card. Stamp card over here, you've got to wait till your 6th stamp, and then next page, you got to wait till your 4th stamp. On the 2nd page, 8th stamp, and then you can choose it, and 12th, and so on and so on. And then after that, just don't touch it. Feature banners, don't go any further. Don't be like me. So, on this banner, we got Glenn and Jill. We're going to talk about the wish list, where Glenn fits, how he is, and how good has he become. Costume wise, yes, this looks fantastic. He looks like a Viking. I know it says pirate, but this is absolutely one of the best ones he's got so far. He actually has pretty good costumes. I'm not a huge Glenn fan because I play Final Fantasy VII for the Final Fantasy original characters. So to me, these extra characters are just something else. So I don't want to spend any of my free-to-play resources on going for characters I don't have any nostalgia growing up with. But for what they did for Glenn, yes, the size of the weapon, the details, everything looks really, really good. Gives me that God of War effect going on. So, is the costume worth it? Oh my god, yes. Anything that has reprieve on any character that you care about, that you're going to use in a party, if you're going to use to pass hard content or any content in the game, reprieve is almost mandatory to just go, yes, grab it. If it comes with a reprieve, that's most likely where you should spend your blue crystals, especially when it comes to a character who can tank. He also has this physical and magic defense plus 20% with HP plus 10%. So with reprieve, he basically, if he dies, he doesn't, he survives, and he has a couple seconds of invulnerability, and he gets to have another chance to continue battle. So really good cheese mechanic and just a good safety button. Plus all that defense and HP makes this like a must pull for Glenn. This is a very, very good costume. And again, this is what's going away. Basically, the weapon will be able to wishlist later on. So what does Pirate's Glaive do? This thing is actually really good to pick up for one copy, because everything on here doesn't need to be OB6, OB10. There's no high, mid, low. There's just little percentage tweaks, and the damage is non-elemental, so the damage doesn't really matter. You're not pulling this for its damage. Now, at one copy, you're going to get Provoke for 60 seconds. No matter what the tier is, it's always 60 seconds. Veil, 6% of max HP. And you're going to get a new ability called HP Gain. It's going to be a status buff. Something like regen, exploit. We'll talk about it in the notices here, because this actually makes a pretty big deal. Now, there's 2 different ways I think this works, right? The ideal number 1 is that Glenn applies this to all allies, and it gives them a percentage between, I think it's 4 to 8% of their HP back. So whatever the casters, it says here, during this buff effect, each time a caster attacks an enemy with the C or Ultimate C ability, casters recover a specific percentage of max HP. So if you have like 15,000 HP, it's up to like 1,200 per cast. Let me double check that. Yeah, so if the character has 15,000 HP, and every time they use a C ability, especially during overspeed, when Kate Sith use HP Shout and they go really fast, right? You mix that up with 3 ATB weapons. Every time they cast that, they get 1,200 HP back. This is going to be used for so much content without a healer. It can be very viable, but also not going to be the guaranteed thing. It's just also a nice backup, because sometimes our healers don't max heal. So if the tank can mitigate all the damage with veils and everything, then what's going to end up happening is that everyone's protected, and any HP you do take, as long as they go through that overspeed phase, or if they're just casting their abilities, that's a lot of HP back, especially as the HP gets higher and higher and higher. And if your defenses are high enough, you're probably not going to take as much damage either. But nowadays, like, fights are really hard. So the 2 ways I see this HP gain is that when Glenn casts this, every time he uses his C ability, because he's the one who casted it, but I believe it means the caster of the C ability, but this gives a character a buff. So under help, if you go to battle and then buffs and debuffs, I haven't seen anyone use it yet, and I haven't tried it myself because I'm not pulling for it. But under here, you can see status changes like regen, invincibility, haste, reprieve, provoke, veil, exploit. Here it is, HP gain, same thing. During this buff effect, each time a caster attacks an enemy with the C or ultimate ability, the caster recovers a specific percentage HP. So at perfectly OB10, this weapon gives you 8%. There's a 30-second duration, no matter the overboost, right? Same thing like provoke at 60 seconds, 30 seconds, it's guaranteed to be that, and that's it. So during that time, like I said, you mix overspeed, haste, all that beautiful stuff, and you're recovering tons of HP, especially when your weapons only cost 3 ATB. Overspeed makes it 2 ATB, so really, really cool. Yeah, I think this weapon's incredible. At OB10, damage 800%, non-elemental, doesn't really matter. Provoke stays the same. Your veil goes to 10%, and you go 8% on HP. Really, really consider if you need a tanking character, especially with Glenn's new ultimate weapon. Excuse me, this is one of those weapons that are going to be able to just put him back up into the chart. He is more of a single target kind of tank, right? So he pulls in and he protects himself and he makes sure that he's taking all those single target hits. So when an enemy is an AoE attacker, we have other characters that do better in that aspect, but he is going to do fantastic because his R abilities are 46-39, which is pretty much almost maxed out for defense and magic defense, 60% and 70% just for having this in the main hand with X Sigil. So overall, for 4 ATB, a provoke, a veil, and HP recovery is something really to talk about. The only problem with Glenn specifically is that he will be specifically just doing that, pulling the attention, protecting, and then giving the party. Stamp card wise, I'll show you. And this is the reason. Now, what do you pull for when it comes to Glenn, right? So there's a couple things he can do, but he doesn't do stuff like water resist down, fire resist down, lightning resist down. He doesn't have all those effects yet. But he's got physical defense is increased, all allies, and magic defense. So while he's also tanking, he can protect the party, adding magic defense and physical defense if the healer's too busy or someone else. He's got that. He's got piece of cake if you need someone to lower physical defense to high, right? And it comes with boost physical defense on it and ice resist. So anyone that's an ice enemy, really helpful. And for any fight, physical defense will now be maxed out. So that's a good option as well. And then of course you have his Blade of Ruin, which has provoke, which was the only other thing he had for tanking, but now he's definitely got a better weapon. You could be doing 940 ice damage while you have all that provoke and veil and giving the party HP recovery. So that's another option, nothing too crazy. A good one to add into his backhand if you're not just pumping him with a bunch of weapons that attack, have like attack boost and survivability for guild weapons. This one's good because it has HP and buff and debuff duration on it. So that's a good way to just increase his piece of cake, his other weapons that give those extra durations so they don't fall off as fast with survivability. So not a bad one to pick up as well. But you're basically going to mix and match between weapons that have HP defense, some fire resist, ice resist. You can wishlist those. But with the current guild battle, you're most likely going to wishlist everything you need to make your DPS and your tank survive longer. But those are just ideas. There's a lot more when it comes to tanking, but most of the time, the tank will have enough survivability on, and the rest of the weapons will be to be boosting the character beside him. Like if Tifa is your current character, you're going to boost her through magic attack all weapons or physical attack all weapons. Or the guild weapons to increase more defense for everybody to survive. So a lot of utility weapons back there. Wishlisting is just more of his offhand weapon when it comes to tank builds. So I think overall, yes, definitely a great character at the moment. Greg, he's definitely picking up his spot. And on this banner, we also have Angeal's weapon, Mithril Slasher. At OB10, this is 580% magic water damage all enemies for 4 ATB. when buff is granted, water resist is decreased mid to high. Same thing at OB6, it's mid to high. It doesn't go to any higher. And then provoke is applied. Now, at first glance, it's like, okay, other weapons go to high. I think this is the first weapon that is mid when it comes to elemental resist down. And there's a reason. It's because that this is going to be on a tank build. Technically, you can be on a DPS build as well, too, because he has another weapon. But when you're thinking about him tanking and you need that provoke, and you constantly just want to provoke up, you need nothing else going on, 4 ATB for 580% water damage while lowering resist, you're going to be spamming this because this has 62 magic attack, which is maxed out magic attack, making that your tank can actually do damage while also tanking. So he's not going to be the sub DPS, but he can be the sub DPS to a certain extent, because lowering water resist and having max out magic, but also your other weapons in your costume allowing you to survive the hits, this thing can come out really good. 674 magic, this thing is actually really, really good. I know at first glance it's nothing crazy. Again, these are featured weapons. They're not going to be crazy ridiculous. Actually, I feel like Glenn's should have been a limited banner. I don't want to change it, but it is one of those like, wow, that's a lot in one weapon. So yeah, I think NGL's weapon is also fantastic to use. Current guild battle definitely emphasized towards that because it's double enemy, water. Whenever it's not a water enemy, this is just a provoke weapon. That's it. If the enemy isn't weak to water, you can't do water resist. Water damage doesn't really do much. And then it's only to cast provoke, and there's better options for that, right? Dead R abilities. So this is specifically for facing water enemies. Nothing crazy to go and spend all your blue crystals right now for. It could give the edge in the guild battle with Aerith doing water and then your tank doing water, and then you have your main DPS, either Sephiroth or Tifa, right? That weapon plus Aerith, all that chip damage really will kick in. Alone by itself, it's decent, but when you add it to the overall party, it's like that's a lot of chip AoE while also making sure the party's protected with provoke. So I think this banner is definitely one that you should go straight into that stamp card and get this costume behind me. That is definitely something. If you're going to use Glenn as a tank and you got his ultimate weapon to go along with this whole build, that is going to complete him. Reprieve on a character, again, is super strong, and HP and defense combined means you can use it for any kind of tanking setup that he has in the future, especially because of Reprieve. So if you're polling, good luck. Let me know what you think down below. That's pretty much everything. So thank you so much for watching. Keep on smiling, and I'll smell you later.